Hello, I'm Trudy, One Grounded Angel. This is the weekly angel card reading for the week February the 13th through to the 17th, 2017. So let's get started. I'm going to start shuffling the cards. This is for Monday the 13th, and we're going to see what the angels have to tell us about what we can expect that day, and just perhaps what we need to know, what we need to address, what's going to come up for us in particular on that day. Okay, so we've got already... You and your loved ones are safe. Now, this is the Archangel Michael angel card deck. He is about protection, safety, overcoming fear. So this is a very strong message, letting us know that we're safe. Sometimes we feel uneasy about our future. We feel like we don't have enough money. We feel like there's not enough for us. And we live in times right now where the political climate is so uncertain. It's making many of us feel unsafe. For some people, that's making them act in ways that are promote exclusion of other people, and they use that fear to let them go down a path of hate or fear. That's, if you're watching this video, that's probably not you. You understand that being in connection with love is the only way to feel safe and to move forward. But that doesn't mean that we don't still have those surface fears about what's going to happen to us, where are we going, are my kids okay, that sort of thing. So it just lets you know that you are safe and you're going to be safe and looked after, and reminds you that you can call on Archangel Michael if you are feeling uneasy or you need protection. I've talked about this before, but one of the things I do every morning in my meditation is I ask Archangel Michael for protection. He has this sword of light. I ask him to use it to create a protective shield around me of white light, and then I ask for whatever it is I need that day. I might ask for a layer of green light if it's healing that I need, whatever it is, and then I'll finish with asking for a layer of purple light for extra protection. And that means that I ask for any negative energy, lower energy, harsh energy to bounce off that shield and not come near me as well. So that can really help if you're feeling like negative energy is pulling you down right now, messages you're hearing in the media or from people around you, just to feel protected and know that you can choose your own thoughts and without playing to what other people are putting out. So that's Monday. Now Tuesday the 14th is Valentine's Day, so I thought I might do something I don't normally do, which is use the Romance Angels card deck. So this message is not going to be significant to all of you, so if it doesn't mean anything, I'm going to do another card for Tuesday as well. I'm going to do a double one. I'll put up the Romance Angel card message because they've been coming through so strongly in the last few weeks in cards that actually don't have anything to do with romance. So that means the Romance Angels are very much around right now wanting to help us. So I'll shuffle this card and see, what do people need to know from the Romance Angels right now? If this doesn't resonate with you, don't worry, there will be another card. But for some of you, now I realize it's going to be difficult because some of you are in relationships and some of you are not. Stay optimistic about your love life. I think this actually will apply to you regardless of your relationship status. So if you are single, you need to make sure you are not buying into those messages about there is not enough good men out there, or all the good women are taken, or whatever it is that you are influenced by, or I'll never find anyone who wants to be with me, or all the men I meet are players. Whatever that nonsense is, you need to stop that. And it might be that sometimes when we say things like that, we think that's a fact. We think we're just saying what our experience is. We're making an observation. That's not true. We need to understand that that is a fear-based thought, and we need to let go of it. When we're attached to things like that, guess what? We're attracting more of it. So it doesn't mean you're being unrealistic. You don't need to pretend that everything is sunshine and rainbows if it's not. But you do need to remember to be optimistic about your future and understand that what you're experiencing in your present is not necessarily your future, first of all, but also what you think you're experiencing right now might actually just be a reflection of your fears. If you've been, turned down by one particular person, that doesn't mean that there aren't enough good romantic partners out there, and it doesn't mean you're never going to find the right person. You will. So it's really important to think about positive thinking in terms of your love life. Now, if you're if you're already in a relationship, that doesn't mean that this doesn't apply to you, because there is always cause for optimism in romance. Sometimes we think, I get people approaching me for readings asking me, should I stay with my partner or not? And there is this idea in our society that people walk away from their relationships too soon. They give up, which I don't think is necessarily the case. But what they're saying is it is important that you, if you are going for a challenge, to ride it out. Okay. Now, if you are in an unhealthy relationship, particularly if there's any sort of abuse of power going on, this is not saying to you that you should stay in that situation. You know what's the right thing for you. But it is saying you must not feel like you are trapped, okay? So we need to be optimistic about our worthiness, first of all, our worthiness to be loved. Because when we don't feel that we are deserving of love, we fall into bad relationships. We block potential partners from being attracted to us. And if you are going through a challenge in your relationship, try to think about it in positive terms. Don't think about it in terms of, this is terrible, this person is this, and this, and I'm just being used, or whatever it is. Try to think about, as I said last week with the Romance Angels card that came through, try to think about what you could be doing for your own behaviour that can change things, because in a relationship, our partner is always a reflection of what's going on for us. So if we are negative, our partner is probably going to be negative back. If we are complaining to our partner that they're not doing enough around the house, for example, is it just that they are not doing things according to our own perfectionist standards? Maybe they are doing enough. Is it that we are being unrealistic about what they should be doing? Is it that we're trying to control them? All those sorts of things you need to be thinking about. Is it that we have got into a relationship with someone who is not who we thought they were, and that's because we were trying to control them from the outset or hoping they would change? So all those sorts of things you need to think about. And it's not necessarily saying you have to put up with bad behaviour. You know in your heart of hearts if the relationship's not working, you need to leave. Please understand that despite the fairy tales that you will read as a child, relationships are not necessarily meant to last forever, okay? The fact that someone has been married for 70 years does not mean the relationship was necessarily good, okay? So longevity isn't necessarily the marker of a successful relationship. The marker of a successful relationship is whether you kept showing up together, whether you were both committed to working through your challenges, whether you could ride out the storm, whether you were both prepared to work away when it was no longer working, and that can be a really hard thing to do as well. Relationships are meant to last as long as they're meant to last, okay? If the relationship's not serving you, sometimes you do actually have to just walk away. But make sure that you are aware of what the challenges are, what you can do to fix them. You cannot change the other person, but please be aware of what your role is in that, and do what you can to change it. But see the challenges for what they are. If they are extreme, if they are, signalling the end of something, really recognise that. So there's a lot of different messages in there, but I am going to, and perhaps I won't do another card for Tuesday, because I do think that covers all our bases. I was going to do an alternative card for people who didn't feel like that related to them, but I do actually feel there are messages in there for everybody. So I will just move on to Wednesday now, the 15th. So let's see what we've got. February's a big month, by the way, so please try to be patient with yourself if you're struggling with heavy emotions, if you're struggling to sleep. That's me at the moment. Not helped by the fact we're having a heat wave in Sydney, but also those intense lunar energies are pretty big, and that's because we've had a lunar eclipse in the weekend, and we've got a solar eclipse coming on the 26th and 27th, depending on where you are in the world. So there's a lot going on, and what an eclipse does is show us what we need to know, and that could be things that have been hidden, things we need to be aware of, particularly this solar eclipse that's coming, because it's in Pisces. Pisces is all about things that are unseen, the deeper levels, that sort of thing. Oh, if you know a Pisces, they're probably quite a deep person, or yeah, I'm in a relationship with one, lucky me. Can be challenging, but the ways that we deal with things is by bringing them into the light. So that doesn't mean that, eclipses can be challenging. Oh gosh, I really hate shuffling this card, it's too big. I've got to stop using it. But the messages in here are so good, that's why I persist, even though I look like a wally while I'm shuffling it. Yeah, I'll never get a job in Las Vegas, let's put it that way. Okay, I've got it. Right, the Emperor. Archangel Uriel, for those who are well versed in archangels. This is about stability and efficiency. It's about taking charge. And you can see here the angel sitting on a throne. That symbolizes power. So there's a real strong message here about making sure we're not feeling like a victim. We're not feeling stuck. And that kind of reflects what I was just saying in terms of your love life for the Tuesday card. And it's about working hard and understanding that the word stability is a difficult one, because often we mistake stability for unhealthy situations. For example, relationships that aren't working, often people stay because they want stability. They know it's not working, but they know it's predictable because they know exactly what they're going to get. There's no uncertainty there. So stability can sometimes be a trap, the pursuit of it anyway. Whereas in actual fact, life doesn't necessarily involve stability. And that's healthy. Life is supposed to ebb and flow after all. But what we need to know here is that when we take charge of a situation, we are going to be able to get a lot more stability because the onus is on us. So we are making things happen ourselves. So yeah, make sure that you are bold. It's a big card here. Are bold and taking charge of what you want. If what you want is feeling like it, let me start again. When we talk about taking charge, I just need to draw your attention to the fact that we can't take charge of another person's destiny. So if what you're trying to take charge of is a difficult family situation or a relationship struggle, please remember that you can only take charge of your own behaviour and your own attitudes. But what happens is when we do address those, quite often the people around us change anyway. So it's a good thing to keep in mind. Looking at Thursday, that's the 16th. Oh, there's two cards jumped out straight away. I don't think they were right though. Sometimes it's difficult to know whether a card has jumped out on purpose and when it hasn't. And because I hadn't even started shuffling, I knew that one was not. Right, so let's just shuffle and see what's going to come up for us. Ooh. You probably didn't see that, but I just dropped the whole deck. And so that is a very strong message to me that I have got the wrong deck. It's just not working here. So I'm going to pick up another one. And interestingly, when I reached for this card deck, I did get a little message saying, go with the alternative card deck you were going to use for Tuesday if the romance card didn't work. And I was like, no, I've planned this one. I've got it ready. I'll use it. But no, we're going to go with that. Okay. And straight away, steady progress. Now, this might seem to be an interesting choice given we just had a message about taking charge and moving forward and going all gung-ho. But this is really about patience and understanding that even when we don't feel like we're getting anywhere, we are in fact getting somewhere. So it doesn't mean that you need to move slowly. You should still follow that message about being bold and moving ahead, but just understanding that things are not going to change overnight, and that's okay. You know, I heard on this great podcast I listened to called How I Built This, and it's about interviews with entrepreneurs. This guy who started the Patagonia company, the nature adventure wear company, he said that companies can grow in two ways. They can grow fat or they can grow strong. If you grow fat, that's not sustainable. It won't last. If you grow strong, you've got resilience and you can withstand anything. I think that's very true of us. And I guess the use of the word fat is symbolic of our health as well. I know we talk about a lot when people lose weight very quickly, there's a substantial body of work, pun intended, body of research showing that that's not sustainable. The faster you lose it, the more likely you are to put it back. So it's the steady progress, the steady weight loss that is more sustainable, and you're more likely to be able to keep at that body shape. But in terms of steady progress, what we really need to understand is that just because we don't feel like we're going as far as we would like, that doesn't mean we're not moving at all. So often progress is something we recognise when we look back in hindsight and go, I'm such a different person than what I was a year ago. I'm sure if you think about yourself in February 2016, you would recognise how far you've come. Yes, you would obviously recognise there are different challenges now, but those challenges have come up because you've grown enough that you're ready for them. So now we'll go to Friday. I feel good about this card deck. So yeah, it was interesting with that one. Straight away a card fell out and it didn't feel right, and then I started shuffling and it just wasn't working. So That's a good lesson for me. So even when you're experienced at working with your intuition, you can sometimes still doubt it, and that's just because we are human. So boundaries. This card is about boundaries. It's got an Egyptian goddess or deity on here. This particular card deck is the goddess card deck, so it does have Celtic, Egyptian, Nordic figures on here. I don't know the history of this Ishtar, but the message here is very clear. It's about boundaries. Now, the problem is we think that we're being kind to people when they make demands on our time, and we're honouring them. Like if you've got a friend who, like I always talk about the energy vampires, the ones who are always ringing us up and making, demanding that we do certain things for them or that we listen to them, and we think that we're being kind, we're doing them a service by allowing them space to do what they need to do, but we're actually doing ourselves an enormous disservice, because we're letting ourselves put up with their drama and wasting our own time, and we're also doing them a disservice because we're actually enabling their behaviour. Now, it's not up to us to tell people that they shouldn't be telling us what to do. If they've got whatever issues are going on for them that they feel they need to create drama or to be so disorganised that they are constantly a mess and need people to swoop in and help them, we can't change their behaviour, but we can change the way we respond to them. So we do that by setting boundaries. Actually, I'm busy, I don't have time for this, or you'll have to find someone else, I'm sorry. I feel sorry for you, or probably not a good thing to say to someone who's needy, but I'm sorry you're in this situation, but I can't help you right now, I've got things to do. And it's about understanding that actually is the kindest thing you can do. Sometimes, particularly for women, we don't like letting people down. We feel like it's our job to help people. And yes, of course, it is our job to help people. However, we are not helping people in those particular situations. We need to help ourselves primarily, and that is by honouring our own time, respecting ourselves. These sort of messages come up all the time. And I must admit, I do struggle because I've never had these problems. I've always been quite good at setting boundaries. So I kind of feel like it's a struggle sometimes for me to understand why people don't just say no. If you've got a sister-in-law who keeps ringing you up and asking you to help her clean her house or do her gardening or look after her kids, I can't relate to that experience. Maybe there's something going on with you that just happens to be part of your life lesson. Your life lesson is to learn how to be kind to yourself and to set boundaries. And that is the case for a lot of people. Just doesn't happen to be part of I've got my own stuff to deal with, don't worry. Just because I've got that sorted doesn't mean I'm okay. I've got my own life lessons to sort out. Or to master. And the interesting thing is when we have these challenges, as soon as we learn the lesson goes away. So the saying is true, nothing goes away until it has taught us what we need to know. This keeps coming up for you because you have not learned to say no. So until you do that, it's going to keep happening. So now this doesn't mean that if someone is in genuine need you should say no to them, but it does mean you need to set boundaries around how much you're going to give. There are no medals for being a martyr. Okay, you don't have to. Here's another great saying. I'm just busting them out today. You do not have to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. Okay, so you must always honour what you need. Are you getting the rest you need, the nourishment, enough fun in your life? Are you getting your things done? You must put yourself first, primarily the message here, and that is a great act of self-love. So let's look at the week. We've got some interesting messages here. So we started the week knowing that we're safe and protected. I think it's a good thing to know, particularly if you're unsettled by either the world climate or perhaps just the lunar energies have left you all a bit feeling a bit uneasy. We've got the Valentine's Day message about being optimistic about our love life no matter what stage it's at. I've gone out of order here. Then we've got the Emperor. This is about taking charge and being empowered, about what we want to achieve and what we want to change. Change starts with us. It doesn't start with the universe handing us a golden opportunity. It starts with us setting the intention for what we want and then starting to move in that direction. The universe rewards action. So, of course, there is a limit. Sometimes we can try to force things too much when they're not meant to be. I've talked before about flogging a dead horse. So it is a balance, but we need to we still need to take those action steps and understand that even just because it's not happening right now doesn't mean it's never going to happen. That's true for your love life as well, okay? The more you do to teach yourself about, to strengthen yourself, to be the person that you need to be, to strengthen your sense of self-worth, you are making steady progress towards attracting a fantastic partner that you deserve. So if you don't do the work, you will keep attracting people who treat you the way you secretly think of yourself, which is as someone who doesn't deserve a satisfying and deep and rewarding relationship. So, and then we've got a message about boundaries, and perhaps that is to do with love. Perhaps you are giving people a chance who don't really deserve your time. Perhaps you're putting up with poor behaviour. Perhaps you're trying to force something that's not meant to be. And that's particularly true of casual dating sometimes. So that's the week ahead. I'll put these on my social media. If you're not following me on Instagram, it's at @OneGroundedAngel. I post each card for the day, give a bit more detail and some extra messages, and there's a chance for you to look closely at the card as well, because sometimes there's symbols in here that are meaningful to you. I'm also on Facebook. My Facebook page is called One Grounded Angel, and if you'd like to book a personal reading, you can reach me at www.onegroundedangel.com. There's a booking form there, or a contact form that you can reach me, and I can give you a quote in your currency if you tell me where you live. I do readings via Skype or email, and you might find that this is not giving you the level of information you need because it's too general. It needs to be. I'm talking to thousands of people, so sometimes a personal reading is probably the best way forward for you. So that's it for this week. I'll look forward to chatting to you next week. Take care of yourself. Remember to put yourself first. That is an act of self-love, and that makes you be a better parent and a better friend and a better partner. It sounds like it's selfish. It's not. It's the best thing you can do. It allows you to actually serve other people as well as a consequence. Take care of yourself and other people, and I will chat to you next week. Take care.